Our next presentation is a step-by-step external DCR by Dr. Sudhir Kumar. Dr. Sudhir Kumar is a professor of ophthalmology. He has done his MD ophthalmology from All India Institute, Delhi. He owned all the awards by BOS, Dr. Dukharam Gold Medal, Dr. A.K. Prasad Gold Medal, Dr. Ajit Sinha Gold Medal, all the gold medals, and currently he is a President-elect of Bihar Ophthalmic Society, and he is also a guru, guide, and friend of many of juniors like us. Dr. Sudhir.
Thank you, Dr. Ravi, for giving me this opportunity and for kind words. I shall be limiting myself to external DCR because most of the time we ophthalmologists are doing the same, and we all are doing since postgraduate days. And the functional goal is to relieve the symptoms of epiphora and associated with discharge and recurrent inflammation. We call it acute and chronic dacryocystitis. And to achieve this, you need to have anatomical goal, as we have already discussed regarding creation of bypass of blocked NLD by making a fistula between lacrimal sac and nasal cavity. And this is achieved by making a large bony ostium and having a mucosal lining anastomosis. So most of the time this is indicated for primary and secondary nasolacrimal duct obstruction, and congenital nasolacrimal duct obstruction when it is not even relieved by probing or when it is associated with mucocele. But we should not do DCR in cases of suspected malignancies, atrophic rhinitis, dry eyes, bleeding disorders, and in which you cannot put off the anticoagulants, and certain diseases like tuberculosis, rhinosporidiosis, and even we may switch to DCT in old cases because of decreased lacrimal secretions. So before we do surgery, what we do, first we must confirm by simple Roplast test or NLD syringing, or in cases of failed DCR, you can go for dacryocystography, and basic examinations like hemoglobin level, blood grouping, bleeding time, clotting time. And of course, control of hypertension is one of the major things which is usually associated in older age groups and diabetes. And if you are planning to go under general anesthesia, we should ask anesthetist for a special test which they need. Before doing DCR, one should put a nasal pack, because this nasal pack will have dual role, because this will be soaked in adrenaline or xylometazoline along with lignocaine, and this will anesthetize as well as decrease the capillary congestion of the nasal mucosa, so there will be less bleeding, as well as when you do a good nasal packing, this will prevent the bleeding itself by pressure, and as well as this will help you in identifying that you have cut the nasal mucosa, because it will be, the trick is there, you have to put the nasal pack first superiorly and then posteriorly. If you put inferiorly, it will go in the inferior meatus and it will come out through nasopharynx. So do it superiorly and then put posteriorly. So we have already discussed the anatomy, but again, regarding applied anatomy, what I will suggest that this is the, this is the bony here. It's very difficult. So in next picture, you see that the lacrimal sac is being enclosed in the various medial palpebral ligaments, posterior and anterior crus, and especially the superior crus is more important because it gives the contour to the lower lid, and which keeps the puncta abutted to the globe. So this should not, the superior crus should not be detached, or if it is detached, this should be replaced properly, otherwise the whole purpose will be defeated because of persistent epiphora. And we have already discussed how to identify the anterior lacrimal crest, and the incision should be around 10 to 12 millimeter, and it should be around 3 to 4 millimeter away from the medial canthus, because beyond that you might find beyond that you might find angular vein which can cause excessive bleeding intraoperatively. So during this stage you must spare or save angular veins, and if you go more superiorly incisions, if you give more superior incision, especially above 2 millimeter of the medial canthus, this may lead to webbing or scar which looks like a web. So this should be avoided. So we have already discussed that only the anterior limb is disinserted, therefore the contour of the medial canthus is unaffected postoperatively, and we must delineate anterior lacrimal crest, and with the help of periosteum elevator, after we have separated the orbicularis muscle, let us discuss this step by step. So exposure of the lacrimal fossa and creation of the bonus bony. So after separation of the orbicularis muscle, we a sutural line between the frontal process, a periosteum is exposed after giving an incision at the margin, lacrimal crest, and this periosteum is elevated with the help of periosteum elevators. This is important, otherwise if you go in between the periosteum and sac, there will be excessive bleeding. And then after you find the sutural line between the frontal process of maxillary bone and lacrimal bone, and it is carefully fractured, creating an opening into the nasal cavity. Here one thing I would like to highlight, that there is a wide variation in this anatomical structure. Many races have more prominent maxillary process, which is very thick, while the lacrimal bone is prominent in some races. If you are operating near the Indo-Nepal border, many of the Oriental people, and they will have prominent maxillary parts. So there will be very difficult, it will be very difficult to make a bony ostium in those people. So you may need different instruments like drill for that. And this has been proved radiologically and anatomically also through various scientists. And the ostium should be around 1 finger thick, wide, around 10 to 12 millimeter. And the limits anteriorly till the punch cannot be inserted between the bone and the nasal mucosa, and posteriorly till the removal of aerated ethmoidal, and superiorly 2 millimeter above the medial canthus, and inferiorly in the nasolacrimal canal is partly deroofed. So this is the expected size of the lacrimal ostium. And then here, if you make a bony ostium much above, there will be retention of the mucosa in the sac, and you will have some syndrome. So the appropriate will be the full deroofing of the bony part of the nasolacrimal duct so that there is proper drainage. So in the next step is identification of the lacrimal sac and flap creation. You can tent the sac with punctum. You can tent this with and then make a U-shaped or I-shaped flap, and make a anterior and posterior flap. You can discard the posterior flap and make either, or make a U-shaped flap and then connect in this fashion, and this will create a mucosal lining. And then this would be done with absorbable synthetic suture like Vicryl, and then orbicularis muscle is also stitched in other layer, and then skin is stitched, and then the flap, then the nasal mucosa you can leave, nasal packing you can leave it and remove it next day. With this, I say thank you.
Thank you, sir. Every time I attend your lecture, I know something more and more. Thank you, sir. Thank